A continuation of the reading of the Brendan Dassey court transcripts, continuing day 1, page 169 of the transcript. Kratz's questioning of Fassbender continued. Agent Fassbender, the search, that is the week-long search of the property, items were located. That's fair, isn't it? That's fair. Were you aware of Teresa Halbach's license plates being found that week? Yes. Do you remember where those were found? Yes, I do. Tell us where that was, please. That was on Tuesday, November 8, and they were found in a salvaged vehicle that was located along the driveway just to the south of the driveway going down to Mr. Dassey, Mr. Avery's residences along a fence line there. Tell us who those plates were located by. They were located by William Brandeis, who was a volunteer firefighter who had been teamed up in search teams with law enforcement officers looking for evidentiary items such as those license plates. Let me show you exhibit number 44. Ask us if you can tell us what that is, please. That's a photograph of the vehicle, station wagon there, that the license plates were found in. The license plates themselves, were they photographed inside of this vehicle? Yes, they were. Who were they photographed by? Trooper Cindy Payne. So Wisconsin State Trooper? Wisconsin State Patrol Trooper, yes. Exhibit number 45, tell us what that is, please. That's the photograph of the license plates placed inside that vehicle taken by Trooper Payne. The plates had been removed because they were folded in on themselves. They had to be unfolded to determine what the number of the license was, and then they were just placed back in there and a photograph was taken. All right, and finally, exhibit number 46, tell us what this depicts, please. 46 is basically a relation in ship picture. On the left side of the photograph shows Stephen Avery's residence. Next to that, to the right is the Yonda Dassey residence, and then a little further to the right or to the west is an arrow pointing at the vehicle that the license plates were found in. So if you're looking at this picture, if you're looking at this particular access road, could you show us how you would walk or drive down this road to get towards either the Avery residence or the Dassey residence? Well, on the picture to the right here, that is or to the top of the picture, is the driveway or access road going down to the Yonda Dassey residence and Stephen Avery residence. If you keep going to the right, which would be to the east, you would run into Avery Road and the entrance to the salvage yard, and then Avery Road to the north out to State Highway 147. I've handed you what's been marked as exhibit number 47. Could you tell us what that is, please? That's a photograph of the front or the north side of Mr. Dassey's residence. And can you tell us what's in front of that residence? Right in front of that residence, where I'm pointing right now, about in the middle of the photograph, is a golf cart. I'm also going to show you exhibit number 51. Tell us what 51 is, please. That photograph depicts that same golf cart. It's blue in color with a white seat on it. Agent Fassbender, have you ever had occasion to be inside of that residence? Yes. I'm going to direct your attention, and I know I'm skipping ahead just briefly, but on the 1st of March, we heard, at least in our opening remarks, about a statement that was given you by the defendant, Brendan Dassey, you and Investigator Wiegert. Is that correct? Correct. Later on the 1st of March, were you given permission, and in fact, did you enter the residence of Barb Yonda and Brendan Dassey? Yes. And in the Yonda and Dassey residence, did you find any items, specifically in the bedroom of Barb Yonda? Yes. I'm going to first show you what's been marked exhibit number 49. It's shown on the large screen. Tell us what we're looking at, please. Attorney Freeman, Judge, could I have a sidebar, please? The court, sure. Discussion off the record. Exhibit number 49, and what are we looking at? That is the bedroom of Barb Taddick in her residence, and showing some closet space or storage space there, and on the handles of some of those closets or storage space we found located some what you would call leg irons and handcuffs. I'm going to show you what has been marked as exhibit 48. These are close-ups. Do you recognize exhibit 48? Yes, I do. It's a pair of the handcuffs that were taken out of that bedroom. And exhibit number 50, tell us what that is. That's a pair of what we'd call leg irons, also taken out of that bedroom. Now, also on the 1st, did Mr. Dassey identify for you any clothing items, specifically items that he had worn on the 31st of October? Yes. I show you exhibit number 52. Tell us what that is, please. That's a jacket that we located in Mr. Dassey's residence. I believe it had the name of Friar Tuck on it, or Friar Tucks, something like that. And what did he tell you about this jacket? that he believed that was a jacket that he had worn the night of October 31st, 2005. Exhibit 53, tell us what that is, please. A pair of tennis shoes or sneakers also taken out of Mr. Dassey's residence, and again, they fit the description of sneakers he said he was wearing that evening. And finally, exhibit number 54, tell us what that is, please. It's a pair of blue jeans that Mr. Dassey himself located or took me to in his residence, indicating that those are the pants that he wore that evening. On the photograph, appears to depict some stains on them. Do you see that? And can you show us that on the screen? Yes, white stains on the lower right-hand pocket area of the blue jeans, and also on the upper left-hand pocket area of the blue jeans, there's some white staining. Some stains around the bottom portions or around the knees as well. Yes, spots and stains that are white. Now, we'll get into the statement of Mr. Dassey much more detail later this week, but did Mr. Dassey describe for you what those stains were? Yes. What did he tell you? He said they were bleach stains. Did he say how those bleach stains got on his jeans? Yes. How? He said that he got them on when he was helping clean up the garage floor in Stephen Avery's garage, and that because they utilized some bleach to clean that area. Now, the jeans themselves, has Mr. Wiegert provided you with those? Yes. What is that exhibit number? Exhibit 58. Tell us what exhibit 58 is, please. Exhibit 58 is the pair of jeans that Brendan Dassey took us to in his residence on February 27, 2006 and consented to us taking them. And do those jeans still appear as you see them today here in the courtroom to have bleach stains on them? Yes, they do. Attorney Kratz. What are those exhibits, Mr. Wiegert, 59 and 60? By Attorney Kratz. We're going to show you exhibits 59 and 60. Tell us what those are, please. Two sets of handcuffs. Do you know where those were retrieved from or where you retrieved them from? One set of the handcuffs was retrieved from Mr. Dassey and Mrs. Taddock's residence, and I believe another set was seized from Stephen Avery's residence. Exhibit number 61 and 62 are being handed to you now. What are those? Two sets of fur-lined leg irons. Where were those seized from? I know we took two sets of leg irons out of Mr. Dassey and Mrs. Taddock's residences, and we also took one set of leg irons out of Stephen Avery's residence. All right. Agent Fassbender, this has been agreed to by the defense, but were you able to retrace the steps of Teresa Halbach? That is, where she had been prior to arriving at Mr. Avery's property on the 31st of October, and approximately when? Do you recall? Yes, we were able to retrace, and I didn't understand or hear the rest of the question. If you were able to tell us, first of all, the two residences that afternoon, the afternoon of the 31st, that Miss Halbach had been. Yes. Who is that? Stephen Schmidt's residence and a Joellen Zipperer residence? And at the Joellen Zipperer residence, did law enforcement officials receive from Mrs. Zipperer specifically that packet of information, the auto trader information given to her by Miss Halbach? Yes. I show you what's been marked as Exhibit 55. Tell us what that is, please. That's an auto trader bill of sale and a current auto trader magazine and a for sale sign. Is it your understanding that after a transaction was completed between Miss Halbach and whatever customer for auto trader that she would give them a bill of sale as well as the most current magazine? Yes, same thing happened with Mr. Schmitz. All right, and the defense has also been kind enough to stipulate, which means agree, to some business records. I'm showing you Exhibit 56. Ask if you can tell us what those business records are, please. Exhibit 56 is a copy of singular toll records billing for the cell phone of Teresa Halbach. Okay, and are 57 the cell phone records for Cellcom? That is for Mr. Avery's cell phone on the 31st of October? I believe so, but let me confirm. Yes. Attorney Kratz. And Judge, although this is perhaps the first time this week that this kind of statement will be made, but I would ask that defense counsel agree and indicate to the court their acceptance and approval that the business records, in this case of Singular and Cellcom, be admitted without the necessity of calling a custodian of the records and without objection of the defense. Court. Mr. Freeman? Attorney Freeman. I believe we've stipulated to that already. The court. That's part of the stipulation. All right. Attorney Kratz, thank you. Agent Fassbender, the balance of the week, that is after the 5th of November, could you describe for the jury, please, the search efforts of this property I don't mean specifically what days and what was searched, but just give the jury, if you will, since they're not going to hear day by day, what was searched for in the Avery property and the surrounding property as well. As I said before, there's approximately 15 buildings on the property. All the buildings were searched by search teams. Also on the property, each and every vehicle of the approximate 4,000 vehicles were searched. Additional personnel were brought to assist in those searches, to include Wisconsin State Patrol. On 2 separate days, 60+ troopers were brought in just for search efforts. Anywhere from 45 to 60 volunteer firefighters were brought in on 2 or 3 days. Law enforcement personnel from several counties were brought in or asked to come in and help. Several police departments were asked to come in and help. Citizen searches were done in adjacent properties, not on the Avery salvage yard. Winnebago County, for example, brought their dive teams in, and they were utilized in ponds. They were located in adjacent properties, quarries. Some ponds were pumped out to look through those for either Teresa or evidentiary items. The next area of inquiry I have, the next area I have for you, Agent Fassbender, are the creation of computer-generated images on and around this property. First of all, are you familiar with how these images were created? Yes. And could you start by generally describing for the jury what these images are and what they're meant to depict? These images were prepared by Tim Austin of the Wisconsin State Patrol, who was asked to come right to the scene right away on November 5. He uses what's called a total station measuring or forensic mapping piece of equipment. And with that, he's able to map or measure a scene to scale, so you have accurate measurements of any particular scene. In this case, a large scene or a crime scene. They are meant to depict measurements of items at the scene, relationships of items at the scene, and the measurements between them. He's also able to depict those or produce sketches in 2-dimensional as well as models in 3-dimensional, adding a height to that sketch or that model, and he's also able to render, the word escapes me now, render animation scenes, that's what I'm thinking of that same scene or certain areas of that scene. And an animation would be a virtual tour or walk through a certain area on that scene. Since the jury would not be and will not be, in this case, visiting the scene, and since these images show angles or depictions that the naked eye cannot, do you believe that these images will assist the jury in understanding relationships? That is, between relationships of evidence that was not only seized, but also relationships of evidence to fixed points within the property? Yes, definitely. All right, let's show the jury. By the way, do you know about how many measurements were taken by Mr. Austin? Over 4,100 measurements, both manually and electronically. You talked about them being accurate. Do you know just how accurate these are? Well, I think the greatest distance measurement he had was 1,200 feet, and at that distance, the maximum amount of error would be less than 1/2 inch. Exhibit number 63, we're going to go through these very quickly. Can you tell us what we're looking at, please? 63 is a 3-dimensional depiction of the Yonda Dassey residence and the Stephen Avery residence in the northwest corner of the Avery properties. And if you could just take your laser pointer, just show the jury what we're talking about here. Again, the Yonda Dassey residence, unattached garage to it, the Stephen Avery residence, an unattached garage, and the surrounding yards, and that right there is the van that was for sale. Okay, exhibit number 64. Again, 3D rendition of essentially the same section of land, but from a different angle coming from the north. And the Yonda Dassey residence garage, Stephen Avery residence garage, the vehicle that was for sale. Once again, these are views that are unattainable by the human eye, is that correct? Yes. Exhibit number 65, please. It's a 3D rendition of the Yonda Dassey residence from the front, looking south, and the unattached garage, and the golf cart is right there. These are not photographs, these are actual computer-generated images, is that correct? Correct. Exhibit number 66. Another view of the Yonda Dassey residence and garage from the backyard, looking north now, from the south, looking north, 4 burn barrels in the back of the residence area. Exhibit 57, Exhibit 67. Another depiction of Steve Avery's residence, Stephen Avery's garage, the van that was for sale, and then to the right side of the picture you can see Stephen Avery's burn barrel depicted. 68. A more close-up version of the depiction of Stephen Avery's residence, the front of the residence, the deck, the entrance door to the north, and then the entrance door to the south. Exhibit 70, Another 3D rendition of the rear area, or to the south of Stephen Avery's garage right there, Stephen Avery's residence right there, and then a mound, built-up mound of dirt and stone